Pyment.
How's it going, Mead Talk? So we are now 10:30 in the PM on March the 7th, Thursday of 2024. So my last video, I showed some new equipment and supplies that I got, which was my fermaid, my wine tannen, my new cylinder, my airlocks. But one thing I forgot to mention is that in my airlocks, they also gave me 4 bungs. So that way, when I finally do get my glass fermenters, now I have bungs to put them in. So there's that. I still have my wine tannen and so on. So to celebrate my new equipment, I decided to go ahead and make another mead. But it's not going to be just a mead. So I don't know how many of you guys have actually watched Game of Thrones, but Tyrion Lannister is one of my favorite characters. He's the biggest short guy that I know. And I actually loved him in the show and everything else that he's ever come out in, right? So yeah, this is going to pay homage to him. And what I will be using today to make his favorite drink in the show is a Pyment. I'm going to be using 100% grape juice from HEB. It has been pasteurized, but there are no ites or aids, any preservatives that can stall fermentation in any way. I will be doing, let's see, per the manufacturer's labeling, it says 1/4 to 1/2 teaspoon per gallon. I am using, what is that, 92 gallon and a half of juice, so I will be using about 3/4 teaspoon of wine tannen. I will be using fermaid, which is my yeast nutrient of choice. I will be using it for the first time here. It's supposed to be pretty good, so we're gonna find out, right? And I'm not sure if I should use this or not, but I'm gonna go ahead and use some wine pectic enzyme, to the manufacturer's specifications, which I believe is 1/4 teaspoon per gallon. So there's that. And my yeast of choice today, which I do not have it with me right now, so give me 1 second. Alright, so my yeast choice today is going to be Lalvin Ec1118. As most of you know, on my channel, I love to make higher ABV meads or wines. So everything that I make generally comes out to 17 to 19%, and Ec1118 is the perfect yeast to get you there. I do notice that the flavors come out really good. My next best choice would be Lalvin Ec1118. And the reason I keep using this one also is that when I did buy these, I ended up buying, I think, 30 or 40 of them. So yeah, I have to use all these before I can buy anything else. So I'm gonna go ahead and start brewing for you guys. Alright, so as always, first things first, you're going to want to make sure you sanitize everything. So all the foam suds that you see here, everything has been sanitized with my Star San sanitizer solution. Now, first thing we're going to do after that, we're going to go ahead and add the star of the show, which is 3 pounds of Bee Proud Pure Honey. I did buy this at Sam's Club, and it actually gives me really good brews. I haven't had a single complaint with it yet. It is raw and unfiltered, I believe. Yep. So let me go ahead and get this in, and I'll start adding the juice. This has always been my favorite part of the home brewing process, is watching the honey going in. It still amazes me till this day that honey can turn into alcohol. So yeah. So as most of you know, honey is expensive, and at the end of every pour you start to notice that there's residual honey in there. So I don't like to waste anything, so I'm going to show you how I get rid of that problem. Alright, so what you're going to want to do is take some liquid out of your whatever you're going to use, whether it's water, juice, or whatever. You're going to want to take some of that liquid and pour it into your honey bottle, right? So that way you can get every drop of honey you can. Then you're going to put your finger over the top, because you don't want anything to come out, and you start shaking it. Now, some of you might say, well, why are you shaking it for? You're going to add a lot of foam or whatever. But one thing you have to know is that aeration is key when you are making a brew. Now, you don't want to put air in it after you've already started brewing, because that's already bad once alcohol is already present. So at the beginning of it, aeration is key. And after you have it pretty well shaken up and dissolved, all you're going to do is go ahead and add it into your fermentation vessel. Now we're going to go ahead and add the whole 64-ounce jar of the other juice. You want to get every drop you possibly can. Waste not, want not, right? Then you're going to go ahead and add the rest of the bottle that you open. It's okay to slosh around. Remember, aeration is key. Now we can start trying to dissolve all 3 pounds of honey. Alright, so since aeration is key, it is okay to get a little messy with the sloshing, right? You want to make sure you dissolve all that honey and get as much air in there as possible. Okay, so after pouring all the honey and most of the juice, I actually stayed with that much juice. I want to say it's maybe 10 to 12 ounces of juice that I didn't get to pour in because I'm already getting to the lip here, and you don't want to go too high because then you risk overflow. Then at that point, an airlock is going to serve you no purpose, so then you have to put in a blow-off tube. So now I'm going to go ahead and start pitching the yeast and the nutrients and so on. Alright, so I did skip a step, guys. So I actually put in my wine tannin, my yeast, my pectic enzyme, and my fermaid O. And then I realized I forgot to take the gravity reading. So let me stir this in, then I'm going to go ahead and take a gravity reading. Alright guys, so I went ahead and took a gravity reading, and I'm not sure if you can see it real clear there, but to me it looks like 1.122. So that should yield me somewhere close to a 16%, 17% mead. I'm actually pretty okay with that. So I'm going to go ahead and pour the sample back in and put in the airlock, put it in my fermentation station, and give you guys an update when it's done. Alright, so basically my fermentation station part for this particular vessel is a 5-gallon bucket. It's actually one of my brew buckets. So this way, if it does decide to overflow, it'll go inside this bucket instead of all over your ceiling wherever you're brewing. That's the last thing you want, because then you won't be allowed to brew inside the house anymore. Now, this might seem pretty obvious, but one thing I do want to recommend is that you take proper notes, because I'm not gonna lie, there's times that I get so caught up in what I'm doing that I make a brew, I forget to even make a video, and besides that, I forget what day I started it, what time I started it. I have 2 brews going on right now that I have absolutely no idea when I started it. It could be a month old, it could be 2 months old, I don't remember. I don't remember if it was January 9th or February 9th that I started both of them. I do know that they're both done fermenting though, so I'll probably be bottling them here pretty soon. But I got off topic. Make proper notes, guys. Make yourself a brew, start home brewing, and I hope you guys enjoyed it. So again, like, share, follow. I appreciate you. Have a great night.